No, I've done it.
This call is
Yeah,
now
you
being
can start.
recorded.
You
Okay.
can
This
start.
call is now taking notes.
Okay. Okay, friends. So for the information, we are recording this program for future utility of our members who have not attended it. It can be useful. So with that in mind, we are recording the today's entire event. Now, before directly going to the today's event, we have a few announcements which are about the programs coming up. The first one is about the Frames 2025, the members exhibition planned for in August 23rd and 24th on the occasion of World Photographic Day celebrations. Basically, the submissions ended yesterday, but how some we have extended for another 1 week. It is open till 24th of July. So we request all the members to actively participate, come forward and submit their images. It's going to be a wonderful exhibition, especially with the new theme like panorama. It will be a super quality print on canvas, which will be exhibited and you can take back your pictures at the end of the exhibition. If anyone has any doubt about submission or how to do the images, you can contact one of us from the YPS EC. We'll help you to do that. If you don't have a exactly panoramic picture as such, any picture which you have taken in a pure landscape mode and a wide angle mode, you can crop it to 12 by 36 size, which can act as a panoramic picture and you can submit those pictures. Anyway, you can always contact us for any doubts or clear help. You are welcome. This submission will end on 24th July. And 27th July is the last date for submission of images for the YPS International Salon. So you are also requested to submit your best images for the International Salon. And the next program will be the August 2nd. We have an open house meet at YPS Hall. So members can bring their 8 to 10 images on a pen drive, which will be exhibited and you will receive a feedback from our experts at the venue. So please come for the meet and bring your pictures especially and to take a good feedback which will help you in improving your skills. Now coming to today's presentation, we have with us Mr. Raghuram Annadana giving his presentation by title Framing the Invisible. Framing the Invisible is a dive into the fascinating world of photomicrography, where traditional microscopes and the microcosmos begins. This session explores how microscopic objectives can be repurposed to capture subjects at extreme magnifications. He will take us through how to do the equipment setups, focus stacking, lighting techniques, and creative challenges involved in imaging the microscopic world. With real-world examples and practical insights, the presentation and talk aims to inspire participants to uncover beauty that's normally hidden from the naked eye. So you're going to see a wonderful presentation as well as the techniques how to do this. Now, a brief introduction about Mr. Raghuram Annadana. He is a Bangalore-based wildlife macro photographer specializing in macro and photomicrography. His microscopy-based images explores the intersection of biology, optics, and visual storytelling. His work has been recognized in leading international competitions, including multiple awards in Nikon's Small World Evident Life Sciences Image of the Year and Close-Up Photographer of the Year. His portfolio and articles on macro and microscope photography techniques can be found on his website, which is given in our my website. You can go through our YPS website. We have given his Insta link as well as the website link. So now I hand over the stage to Mr. Raghuram Annadana to take us through his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Raghuram.
Thank you, Girish. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
So good evening, everybody. Nice of you that you can join us on a Saturday evening for this presentation. So today my presentation is called Framing the Invisible, and this presentation is about how we can repurpose microscope objectives for creative photography, and how you can step up your magnification from your traditional macro lenses, which offer just about 1x to 2x, and how we can step beyond this particular range and move into magnification ranges like 5x, 10x, 20x, 40x, 60x, and so on, right? So this is what I'm going to be talking about today, and I'm also going to be showing you a lot of equipment that I have built. Some of the rigs that I have built, and some that I have been building, and some which continue to be built. Yeah, it's a never-ending endeavor. So I'll take you through my journey so far with in this brand of photography. So this is going to be the overview of my talk today. So we're going to talk about what is photomicrography. I'm going to show some key equipment and techniques. I'm also going to talk a little bit about optical concepts, not a lot, not a whole lot, just what is essential for understanding how to get started with this brand of photography. Going to talk about some challenges and practical tips, the challenges that I have faced, and some tips that I've gained over a period of time. And I'm going to round it off with some sample images, that I have taken over a period of over the past few years using these techniques that I'm going to talk about. So okay, so what is the so we are looking at the world beyond macro. So traditional macro lenses are typically limited to about 1:1 magnification or 1x magnification, and there are very few options for higher magnification with this conventional brand of photography that we're talking about. So there are also brand limitations, like for example, Canon and Nikon. They have almost no native support beyond 1x. Olympus has a great lenses at 2x, but nothing beyond it. Venus Lava has something at 5x, and they also have the Oregon, which can go all the way until 50x. But I think the options are still very limited here, right? So these are with conventional photography and lens manufacturer OEM vendors here. So there are also technical challenges once you start stepping up, magnification beyond 1x and 2x. So the challenges that we come across in macro photography are just get amplified when you start moving into the microscopic world. For example, the depth of field becomes razor thin at high magnifications. So stability is a big requirement as you keep stepping on the magnification. So what are we trying to do here? So we're trying to use we are trying to break free from the traditional the macro photography the lens gear that we are on, and try to repurpose some of these microscope objectives that we can procure. So these are scientific equipment that are built with high precision, and they work really well when you're trying to use it on for creative photography as well. So this is what we call as photomicrography. So magnifications up to 10x is also known as extreme macro, and beyond that it's called photomicrography. So these are a couple of examples. So the bottom image here is a traditional macro image shot using the Olympus OM1 with the 1x magnification lens. So this is how your image will look. And the top image has been shot using a microscope objective. This is using a 10x microscope objective. So these are the wing scales of a butterfly. So we're just looking at different things. So we're looking at more detail with microscope objectives. So this is what we bring to the table here. Once we start using the objectives, we can start looking at this tiny world in a lot more detail. So this is what we're trying to do here. So before we start looking at the equipment and the various other gears, right? So we need to understand what are the optics behind the microscope. So broadly, there are two kinds of microscopes. So one is the finite conjugated, finite focused, and the second is the infinite conjugated, infinitely focused. So these are some diagrams I've put in place here to explain what a finite conjugator and infinite conjugator is. So here you have the lens here. So in a finite conjugate system, and the lens is picking up the light rays from the subject. And this particular microscope lens, it refocuses the rays onto a focal plane here. And on the other side, we have an eyepiece. The eyepiece is used to observe the image that the objective is actually looking at here, right? So This eyepiece has so this distance is the eyepiece focal length, and once the eyepiece focal length is focused on this plane, you will be able to see what this particular lens has been what you're looking at on this particular subject here. So this is what the finite conjugate is. So you have a fixed tube length here. So this is the tube length of the microscope here. So as against when you come to the infinite conjugate space, you have the same lens which is gathering light from the subject. And in between, you have a infinity space wherein the rays from the subject are converted into parallel rays, right? So this is the infinity space. And now what you need to do is you need to reconverge these parallel rays into another focal plane here. And for that, you need to use something known as a tube lens. So the tube lens has its own focal length. So this is the tube length focal length. And of course, once again, you have the eyepiece here, which refocuses on this particular plane to see the image here. So broadly, these are the two categories of microscope, objectives. So now most microscope vendors have moved to the infinite conjugate space, and the reason being that it's just a lot more easier to add filters in this infinity space. For example, if you want to add a polarizer, it becomes very easy to just add a filter here, as against this, which becomes a very fixed system with very less maneuverability here. So this is how a typical microscope objective would look like. So it has various markings on it. So this is the manufacturer. Here we have an icon, which is the manufacturer. So this indicates that it's a planar conjugate. So this indicates the magnification. So this offers 10x magnification. So this quantity here, 0.25, is the numerical aperture. I'll talk about this a little later in the next slide. So this infinity indicates that it's an infinite conjugate, and there's something known as WD, which the WD of this, it says it's 10.5. So 10.5 is the working distance. I'll talk about this as well, and the units for this is in millimeters. So let's look a little bit about these two quantities here, the numerical aperture and the working distance, because those are critical when you're trying to pick a objective for your photography work. Okay, so these are the two quantities that we just saw marked on the objective. So the first one being the working distance. So what exactly is the working distance? So the working distance is the distance that you need to place the subject from the microscope objective, so that the subject is in focus. So that is broadly what the working distance is. So when the objective says it's 10.5 millimeters, it means that if you keep a subject 10.5 millimeters from the objective lens, the subject is going to be in focus here. So you're going to get something in sharp focus at this focal plane here, right? So basically it's the distance from the objective lens to the subject. So that's what is the working distance. So now how does this impact us when we're trying to photograph things? So a longer working distance means you have more space here between the subject and the objective, and that means lighting is that much more easier. And if you want to compose something which is hard, it gets a lot more easier with a longer working distance. So with a shorter working distance, it starts getting tighter here, and it becomes very hard to light up once the working distance is very small. So for example, when you're going to very high magnification, like for example 60x and things like that, so the working distance falls to just about less than millimeter. So there's hardly any space between the objective lens and the subject here. So it's almost touching that. So which means it's going to get that much more harder to get light into this particular space here. So there are various ways that we'll look at some lighting techniques and things like that that you can use for various for some of these magnifications in a bit. So the other quantity that we talked about was the numerical aperture. So this is a measure of how much light the lens can gather and its ability to resolve detail. So just to give you an analogy, so what this means is, let's say you have two buckets which you've kept outside to collect rain. But one is a wider bucket, another is a narrow bucket. So once it rains, the wider bucket is going to collect a lot more water or raindrops in comparison to the narrow bucket. So this is exactly what it means. So if you have a higher numerical aperture, it means that the light gathering ability of the microscope objective is just much better. and higher the NA, it means you're going to have a better resolution and also a better image clarity. So, but there's an inverse relationship between the numerical aperture and the working distance. So if you have a higher NA, which means your working distance is going to fall. So there's always a trade-off between these two things. So let's see a little later about in the next slide about how we're going to pick the right objective for photography. Okay, so how do we choose the right objective for this brand of photography? So first thing is we need to make sure that the optics are good, and the general rule of thumb is to use plan achromats or better. The reason being that these have low spherical and chromatic aberrations, and also these have optical corrections for distortions, and they have flatter fields. So of course, once you start going beyond planar achromats and better, so of course the price point, there's also price that you have to pay for better optics. So it's always a trade-off between how much you want to spend and how much incremental gain that you get from these better optics. So yeah, so that's something you have to make a call here about how much you want to spend and how much of quality you want to get from the optics itself. But yeah, so if you really want to get high quality stuff, you need to stay with at least planar achromats and beyond that. So you also need to look for a reasonably large image circle, so that it covers the entire camera sensor. So depending on what you are on, let's say you're on if you're on a full frame, which means you have a 36 mm. So at least your image circle should be as wide as to cover the image sensor, or you could end up with some kind of vignetting and things like that. So make sure that the microscope objective that you have has large enough image circle. So like I mentioned, NA and working distance is always a trade-off. So look for something with high NA, but also usable working distance. So it's always a trade-off. Some examples of objective families that work really well for this brand of photography are Mitutoyo, M-Plan Apo. Then you have the Nikon Plan Achromats, the same picture that I showed earlier. So that family. The Olympus Apo Achromat families. So all of these work really well for this brand of photography. Okay, so now how do we build a microscope rig? Assuming that now we have picked objective, so you might have picked either a finite objective, or you might have picked an infinity objective. So depending on that, the way you would build your rig would slightly differ. So with the finite objective, what happens is we don't have a tube lens, like I mentioned before. And what you need to do is you need to create some kind of tube to harness this particular objective to the DSLR here. So for example, the tube lengths of various objectives have been standardized by all the microscope vendors. And these are the tube lengths from the big four vendors. So Olympus is at 180, Nikon is at 200, Leica is at 200, Zeiss is at 165. So let's say you are with the Leica, so which means you'll have to build a tube which is 200 mm here to the sensor plane here. So this is how the tube will be built. So this basically you use some bellows, and this is, I think, a 3D printed cone that you can use to attach this particular bellows to the microscope objective. So the other the other objective that if you have chosen the infinity objective, which is more likely because that's what is widely available these days. So there are two ways you could do it. So the one easy way would be to use any 200 mm lens that you have. It could be the wildlife lens that you have already been using. Like for example, the Canon 200 mm lens works really well. And what you need to do is just get one of these coupling rings to attach to the front of the 200 mm lens. And you have the other end, which is mating to the microscope objective. So that's it. So this is how your rig looks like. But if you do not have a 200 mm lens, so 200 mm lenses are pretty expensive as well. So it doesn't make sense to buy a 200 mm lens for this brand of photography. So the other alternative would be to try and create the rig yourself. So something like this. So this something this kind of the equipment that I use, wherein I use a Renox 250 or 150 as a tube lens. So one of the nice things about the Renox 250 is it has a focal length of 208 millimeters, and it's very close to uh, what these guys recommend. They say Nikon says keep a tube length of 200 mm, so it's very close. So which means that if I add a Renox here, so the Renox is here, and I create a tube. The tube has been created using a bunch of extension rings and bellows and things like that. So you set up a tube of length 200 mm down to the sensor plane. It should work automatically. And here, if you place a subject which is 10.5 millimeters from this particular objective here in front of it, you will be able to see a sharp image here. So it's as simple as that. So of course, you'll have to find all these coupling rings. You'll have to work out ways to attach this to the DSLR. So those are things you have to work out. But there's certainly one way of doing this, and it's also a very versatile mechanism to do it this way using the Renox, because Renox comes in different variants. So you have the 250 and you also have the 150. So the 150 has a focal length of about 125 millimeters. So which means if you set up the 150 here, and then you move this tube to 125 millimeters, you just move the bellows back and set it to 125 millimeters back. The same microscope which is offering 10x will fall back in magnification to 6.25x, which means you can use the same microscope objectives with different magnification ranges now, if you just change the tube lengths. So there are some mathematical formulae governing the magnifications that you can achieve based on the tube lengths, focal length. I will not go into those details, but yeah, if somebody wants, we can talk about this little offline. Okay, so okay, so how do we step beyond extreme macros? See so these kind of rigs will work all the way until 10x. You can probably step it up until 20x. But how do we go beyond that? And the only way we can do it is to get a microscope and attach the camera to it in some fashion. So this is a microscope setup, and this is a trinocular version of a microscope. This is a CX43 Olympus. What is a trinocular microscope? So basically, you have two ports. So this is a binocular port with which you look at the subject through these two eyes. So it's like a binocular that you're looking in, but only thing is your subject is placed here. And the third port is known as the trinocular port, where you connect a camera to it. This is a precision equipment that universities use and people use. So these are built extremely sturdily, and there's a lot of stability and all that. So it solves all those other problems that we have with extreme macro. It's solving all those problems. But there are a few challenges here as well, which I will show you through the course of this presentation. So let's just look at how this setup looks like. So here we have the camera. So here is a USB cable which is feeding power to the camera. So we have an HDMI cable. The HDMI cable, you can attach it to a monitor to see a live feed of what you're observing on the slide. So then we also have a revolving nose piece. So nose piece here, we have armed it with different objectives. So here we can see the 4x, 10x, 20x. So there's also the 40x, 60x, 100x, 100x, and so on beyond this. So it's just a revolving nose piece, and once you rotate it, you can change the magnification. So here's where you place the specimen. So it's a slide on which you prepare the specimen and you place it on that. So this is a mechanical stage here in this particular microscope, but you also have motorized stages wherein it could automatically move. So the mechanical stage can move in this horizontal XY fashion, left right, or it can also move top down. So you can use it to grab focus on some particular focal plane that you're looking at, and the XY and the left right you could use to track the subjects that you are seeing, right? So some of these subjects can also be mobile. They are let's say you're peering at pond water and they are going to be moving about. So you need this XY motion to actually track down to track those particular mobile specimens as well. So you have a lamp here. So the lamp you can use with a polarizer. So this is a universal condenser. So it offers various kinds of lighting techniques, like for example, a bright field, dark field, phase contrast, fluorescence, DIC, and so on. So these are all different contrast enhancing techniques that I just talked about. So this I will not go into the details of this, and they're probably best suited for another day, another presentation. So this is the condenser. What it does is it grabs light from the lamp, and it creates a bright focal bright ring of light for you, so that you can observe the specimen through the microscope objective. So this is a polarizer configuration for the most of the same microscope. So polarizer is an attachment that you can attach in between here. So you can see this black. So this is the polarizer. So this is actually something known as the retardation. So this is what gives the polarized light photography the vibrance and the colors and all that comes in from the retardation module. So you could also build your own polarizer retardation for the previous trick. Yeah, if someone is interested, I can share those details as well with them. Yeah, so I will share some images a little later about with polarized light photography, how they look. So this basically how your setup would look like if you're going to use a microscope for this kind of photography. Okay, so these are some lighting setups. So the lighting setups is always work in progress. So depending on the subject that you are shooting, so you would experiment with different lighting setups. So this is a lighting setup where you have 3 remote flashes, and then there's a self-made diffuser, homemade diffuser out of butter paper and things like that. Or you could also look at consider using some continuous lighting using this gooseneck lamp that we have here. So which can provide some continuous light. Yeah, so the entire harness here is mounted on a vertical stand here, and this entire thing is controlled using a motorized rail, using computer controlled rail for making precise movements. So this is how an extreme macro setup would look like. So of course, depending on the subject that you're shooting, so there's always quite a bit of trial and error and a um, lot of work involved in trying to get light on the subject that you're photographing. Okay, so these are some other techniques that you can use if you have a microscope with you. So you have this is a Volvox green algae that you find in freshwater ponds when viewed under different using different microscope illumination techniques. So A is bright field, B is dark field, C is what is known as phase contrast, D is DIC, E is this is Reinberg illumination, F is fluorescence. And apart from this, you also have polarized light photography, then you have oblique, then you have epi, which is nothing but reflected light. And then you have some super expensive ones that you will have only access if you're a researcher, and things like confocal and SEM. So these are very, very expensive to access, and you need to have access to the right labs to have to get access to these kind of techniques. But I think the rest of these techniques, yeah, with some we should be able to get access to. So these kind of techniques are still within the reach of citizen science. Okay, so focus stacking is essential in this brand of photography. A bunch of us use it in macro photography. While in macro photography, you may still be able to get away with single shot images, but when it comes to microscopy, this is, I think, of foremost importance. You need to know how to focus stack and how to take images so that they come out come out razor sharp. So this is how a single shot would look like. The same, the wing of the, I think this is a lime butterfly. How it would look like with a single shot. You can see just the focal plane, which is focusing on these blue scales here, but the rest of them, most of them is out of focus. And this is how it will look like after focus stacking. So why do we need focus stacking? That's because at high magnifications, the depth of field will shrink to very, very few microns. I'll show you in the next slide how do we decide the depth of field and the step size. So a single image will not be able to capture everything in full focus. And what you do in focus stacking would be to take multiple shots at various focal planes, and then you combine all of these in software to create a fully composite image. And your fully composite image would look, you would have everything in focus. So you can focus stack using Rails. Using manual rails, or you could use the fine focus knob of your microscope to change the focal plane, and every time you change your focal plane, you take a shot. But this is not a repeatable procedure that you do, and it's prone to errors. It's prone to also human fatigue and things like that. So you need to automate it. You need to use precision rails. You need to use computerized rails. And there are a few companies which actually sell equipment for motorized rails. So first one is vMacro and Cognisys, and Cognisys is the second one. So both of these rails work really well. So Cognisys sells the stack shot, and vMacro sells the vMacro branded one. So both of these work really well. So softwares you need to be aware of for stacking are Zerine Stacker, Helicon, and Photoshop. So a few will work better, a few will not so work. There are various pitfalls with each of them. So not go into details, but I think the best one that if you want to get started would be the Zerine Stacker. So now, how do we determine what is the step size that we need to move the focal plane or the fine focus knob or the entire microscope gear to, and how do we take shots with that? So the first step you need to do is you need to determine what is the step size for your particular gear, and the it turns out that the depth of field is decided based on the numerical aperture of the objective that we just saw in a few slides back, and the formula for that is given by this point 0.0055 divided by NA square. So this is the formula for for the depth of field. So let's say we have a 4x objective. So the typical NA for that would be about 0.1. So you have the DOF. If you use this particular formula, you'll get it as 55 micrometers. But what you want to also do is you don't want to move at every 55 micrometers. You want to have some overlap between the various steps. And typically, I choose a overlap of about 75 to 80%. And the safe step size that you need to choose is about 44 millimeters with the 4x. And the same thing if you step it up to 60x here, so you'll see that the safe step size is just 0.68 micrometers. We're talking in micrometers here. And of course, you can see how the working distance changes as well. So working distance with the 4x is about 18.5 millimeters, 10x is 10.5 millimeters, and with the 60x you have just about 0.2 millimeters of space between the subject and the objective. So it's really close. And when you're working with these magnifications, it's really hard trying to get a good image. So you need to have everything right so that you get the right image out of what you're trying to image. There are also some online calculators that you can use to compute step size. So I have a few on my website as well. So that it's for my own personal consumption, but of course I've made it open for everybody else who wants to use it. So you could just punch in things like your numerical aperture, and it would just give you your step size that you can just program into your macro rail, and you'll be able to get a beautiful image once you focus stack everything. Okay, so these are some common challenges that one would encounter if you are in this brand of photography. So first and foremost, I think this is a big challenge for me as well, trying to find subjects to image. So the reason being that uh, what you're trying to image is something that you cannot see. I mean, the only way you can figure out that something is worth imaging is you bring it down to your microscope. You look at it through the microscope. Spend many hours searching for a subject. So this is always a challenge, trying to find subjects that are interesting, subjects that have a story to tell, subjects that have vibrance, color, and texture and all that. So you need to there's a lot of field work which goes in, a lot of study that goes in trying to find subjects and bring it onto your work table and try look at it under the microscope and see if it's worth imaging. So rig stability is of extreme importance as well. I just talked about how at high magnifications how image light changes to your this one is going to affect it. So things like even for example when you take a shot, the the microscopic movements that the camera itself introduces, right? When you take the shot, the mirror which goes up and it slaps down. So those also will cause some microscopic vibrations. And you could consider using the mirror up mode, or if you're on a mirrorless camera, the electronic shutter works really well. So these are kind of things that I commonly use as well. And of course, to maintain your overall rig stability, you need to mount your entire equipment on some kind of rail or some kind of stand, so that everything is stable. And make sure that if you're on wooden floors, don't place it on wooden floors, because wooden floors move. If you have tables, make sure that they're all stable. So even the slightest movements is going to cause your entire stack to fail. um, so lighting is always a challenge. So every subject has to be lit differently. You need to work with your subject, see how do you get the best light of it, how do you try to get the best features that you want to image. So lighting is always a challenge. So we need to get computerized macro rails for this. So of course, V macro and of course stack shot. So they work really well. Aberration, chromatic aberration. So this is a problem as well. So need to get good, high quality objectives. So dust and contamination is a problem when you're trying to image something. If you have something which is contaminated and dirty, that's what you're going to see in your final image as well. So which brings us to specimen preparation and staging. So this is a very important step when you're trying to image something. Try to prepare it in such a way that it's ready for imaging. So you're making it imaging ready. The cover slip thickness, that's an important factor as well. So like I mentioned, with the 60x, you just have 0.2 millimeters between working distance between the objective and the subject. So which means you need to put a cover slip on top of your slide. So why do we use a cover slip? Because let's say you're looking at some pond water uh, with some animals in that. And you don't want pond water all over your equipment, so you put a cover slip on that. So the cover slip thickness itself has to be thinner than the working distance, which is 0.2 millimeters. So you need to get the right cover slip for that. So heat and focus drift, that can be an issue as well when you're using your camera over many hours. For example, when you're imaging some of these, the stacks could range into thousands of images. So which means so some of these factors play a role as well in the final image quality. And then you have software artifacts which come up with when you're trying to combine all of these images into a single image. So you need to learn how to deal with these artifacts, the halos and the dust trails and things like that. How do we work around that? And last but not the least, file management and storage. So you're going to be generating a lot of images for stack. So the stack can vary from anywhere from tens of images to thousands of images, right? So you need to figure out how are you going to store this, how are you going to manage these large stacks that you're going to be generating with this brand of photography. So of course, there are these other things about patience and perseverance. Can't So this is like this tops the entire list, I think. Without these two, you will not be able to get anything, make progress on this particular photography field. So you also have this eye strain and fatigue. So the reason why I say this is there's a large amount of you need to peer in through the binocular port of your microscope, and this could be for quite some time. I mean, when you're trying to find the right subject to image, you need to create a lot of samples, create a lot of slides, and place them under the microscope, and keep looking and try to find something that you think is worth imaging. So these are some of the challenges that one would encounter if you are dealing with these objectives for photography. Okay, so this is how a setup would look like. This is in the horizontal configuration, the same setup. I have this setup on my kitchen counter. So the way it would work is, so basically, the camera takes a shot. The camera is programmed so right now the rail is programmed for a particular program. It's I don't know what I'm imaging here, but what it does is it takes a shot. So these are the diffusers and the flash and all that. it takes a shot, and then there's a small movement which is introduced by the rail, and the camera moves forward. Camera and the microscope, objective, everything moves forward slightly, and it moves forward by only that step size that we have programmed into the rail. So it moves by that. So, and every time it moves forward, it takes a shot. So this is the way it would take a shot. Um, so on the other side, so this is how setup would look like if you're using microscopes. So this is the V macro micro mate that I've attached to the fine focus knob of the microscope here. And of course, I'm using some gooseneck lamps here for some lighting. I think I'm shooting a peacock feathers, I think, here for this particular project that I'm working on here. And the way this would work is, so the micromate will move the fine focus knob here, and then it takes a shot, and then the process would repeat again. It would move to the next focal plane, take a shot. So that's the way way you would program this, this micromate to, you would attach it to the fine focus knob of your microscope and take various shots at different focal planes. So broadly, this is how it works. So I'd like to show you some images now, shot using this equipment that I've just described. I'll start with some plant life that I've shot over the past few years. So these are microscopic algae. So this, I think, Bactros. I don't remember what's the name, but yeah. So I found this in the freshwater streams of in the Wayanad rainforest, and this have been shot using polarized light, and the polarized light is what gives all these bright colors, and this is the water transport vessels of the um, um, of the algae itself. So it tends to optically stain the sample, the subject um, that you're uh, that you're observing with these different colors. So these are some diatoms. So this diatom belongs to the Pinularia genus. So diatoms are single-celled algae, and they actually live in these silica glass shells. So of course here, if you take any pond water, it could be lake water, river water, you will find diatoms in them, and they come in various shapes, sizes, and different kind of you know different shapes and all kinds of textures are there on them. So this has been shot using a 60x objective, again shot using under polarized light to give it this kind of differential lighting here. So this on the left is is a trichomal landscape of sea hibiscus leaf. So trichomes are these these hair-like structures of the leaf, and they protect the leaf from insects and and also from weather conditions like extreme heat and things like that. This is once again shot under polarized light. Here you can see that the water transport vessels on the leaf itself are stained optically with this magenta here to give this different different color to it. And on the right, this is a early stage, hibiscus bud that I've photographed using the equipment that I showed, that homemade equipment. So again, this is shot using a 10x objective. So there's quite a bit of texture, and so these are still developing stamens inside the bud. So these have been imaged using that technique. So this is this is some stonewort algae that I was observing under the microscope, and these are the reproductive. This is known as the antheridia, and the antheridia is these are actually globules or spheres, and they're covered with this sterile cells. And once the time is right, the sterile cells will just break up on releasing all this flagella out. So the flagella are like the sperm which then swim in the water, and then they find their the egg cells, and then this begin the process of fertilization. So this is how this was just pretty interesting. This algae that I found, and it's quite a sight to see it under the microscope. So on the left is a early stage lantana flower bud. Again, has some really great texture to it. Looks almost you know out of the world. So this is on the left is morning glory flower bud, a stamen covered in pollen grains, and this is shot using a 10x microscope objective. And this is so these are the stomatal landscape of a leaf. I think this is a croton. I don't remember which leaf this is. So, but if you see, these are the pores with which the leaf can actually, the plant can actually, exchange air and the oxygen and carbon dioxide. So these are the pores through which the leaf would actually, the plant would actually breathe in and breathe out. So these are those stomatal pores of the leaf. So these are some crystals that I've shot over some in the past few years. So these crystals have been grown on a glass slide. So you can grow the crystals using various techniques. It could be using a solvent or using heat or using or you could use or you could use the refrigerator and things like that. So you create a crystal on a glass plate, and then these are all microscopic crystals, and when once you look at them under the microscope using polarized light, you can look at all of these patterns. So on the left we have the amino acids. So this is, I think, a combination of it's, I think, beta alanine and L-glutamine. So this is that combination. On the right is the vitamin C crystals. Again, this introduces this kind of these flowery patterns here. So this, I think, is gabapentin. Well, it looks like a scene out of maybe Antarctica, but yeah. So this is just a small, tiny scene under the microscope. So these are gabapentin crystals. Gabapentin is a drug that is prescribed for some nerve disorders and things like that. Um, so this on the left is vitamin C, and on the right is I think paracetamol. This Dolo 650. So yeah, so this is how they look like. So on the left, these are amino acids. Again, a combination of beta alanine and the L-glutamine, I think. And on the right is again vitamin C. So these are some images of some yeah, there's, I think, a blue pansy a wing fragment that I found, and I imaged this using a 10x microscope objective. Yeah, so there's a single pollen grain as well that you can see on the wing scale here. Um, so on the left is are the wing scale details of the common. I think there's the common evening brown. So again, this is imaged using bright field polarized, I think, and with some external light as well to bring out all the features and textures on that. And on the right is I think this is the Eudosima fruit piercing moth. Again, a wing that we found in the garden of workplaces. So this is how they look like. So this is the rice weevil that we see in your pantry. I looked at one under the microscope, and they do have this nice leathery texture and this golden these features on top of them. So this is the rice weevil that we see in the pantry in our houses. So this is the hoverfly. This is, I think, the Erastilis species. Again, shot under polarized light and with a combination of polarized light and reflected light. Yeah, so it does have some really nice features, and so this is the compound eye that you can see in great detail once you're looking at this high-res image. So this is a freshwater crustacean. So I think this is a copepod. So there are about 13,000 species in this particular genus, and this is one that I found in pond water, and I had the shot using polarized light, a combination of polarized light and oblique light. So this how I've shot this. So this red is, of course, it's the eye. The polarized light stains it in different ways, different parts of the um, sample that you're seeing it. So this on the left is the mosquito larva. This is the Culex species, I think, shot under polarized light. And these are some microalgae on the right. So this is, I think, at 40x, I think, what I've shot it again under polarized light. So these are Pentatomida eggs. These have so I've used continuous lighting here to show these growing embryos of the Pentatomida bugs inside the eggs. Yeah, so this was shot using homemade rig that I showed initially, using the Raynox and the the bellows and that setup with this for this shooting this. So this is the eye detail of I think it's a robber fly. So these are the compound eye features. It's got this nice hexagonal pattern that you can see under the microscope. This is once again imaged at I think 10x. So these are eggs of the banana skipper butterfly. So this is shot using a panoramic stack and stitch. So wherein I've used a 4x objective, but many of these have been so each of these are individual images and they are stitched together. So there are 22 separate stacks here, and each of them have been stitched together in Photoshop. So there are about 2,200 images, I think, in this particular image that I've created. So there's great detail on each of these, and each of these would be about 20 megapixels. So this is the kind of detail that you can get with this kind of photography. So these are peacock feathers. The same the video that I showed a little earlier. So this is what I was shooting with that particular setup. So the shot against shot using continuous lighting under the microscope. So this is the wing detail of a mosquito, and they do have this nice dainty structures on them, and that's what gives the mosquito its agility, and the structure of this various these these feathers that attach to its wing. So that's what gives the mosquito its agility to maneuver when it flies. And the same wing as seen as seen in this is shot at so the previous one is shot at 20x. This is shot at 10x on the left, and this is shot at 60x, where it starts becoming very abstract. So these are some different magnifications for the same subject. So these are the detail of the oleander hawk moth wing details. So both are the same wing, but I think shot in different, just different positions of it. So again, some really nice detail, color, and texture on this particular moth. So this is, I think, a white orange tip again, the wing detail of it. So this is shot using, I think, this is shot bright field, but I've also used external lighting, a bunch of flashes to eliminate these dark segments, the dark patches of it. So that's what gives it this kind of look and detail that you have. So you also have back. It's also backlit, but it's also it's also toplit. So this is, I think, a lime butterfly. So there's a wing spot on it. This shot at 20x, I think. Yeah, so there's just a tiny wing spot. The wing spot is nothing but just a loss of scales over there. Once you see it under the microscope, you see that, yeah, it's nothing but there's just some missing scales at that point. So this is, I think, I think this is a wing that I got in the Andaman rainforest. I don't remember which one this is, but again, shot in bright field with some reflected light to bring out all the detail on the this is a black wing, right? So black is always harder to image. So I've chosen a combination of backlit plus frontlit to bring out some details on this. So these are this is the this this is the molt of a fishing spider. So I found it on a stream in Agumbe, and I managed to bring it back to see under the microscope. So it was in pristine condition, and you can see that these are the fangs of it, all well preserved. So it does have some great detail on it. And this is an ant. I don't know which species, but yeah, still makes for a nice portrait. Um, so this is a cuckoo wasp. Shot at 4x, but it's shot using a panoramic stack and stitch method. Yeah, again, some great texture and detail on it. So this is a creature. These are, I think, nematodes. You can find them in pond water, and what you can also see are these small diatoms here. So I don't know the species of this, but these are all diatoms. And of course, this is a much larger creature. So this is a nematode. So nematode is, it looks a little bit like a worm, but yeah, these are all small animals that live in pond water. So this is the wing detail of lace wing shot under Polaris light. So there's actually, if you just look at the wing, with your naked eye, there's just a small brown patch on it. But the moment you put it under polarized light, it brings out all these differential colors. So the brown becomes blue, and then you have all these um, the um, the support structure for the wing, right? So that all gets illuminated with these different. It gets stained optically with these different colors because of polarized light. So that's what brings out all these kind of details using polarized light. Yeah, and this is just a sample that this is just a drop of blood that I put on a slide to observe, and then I forgot about it, and then it dried up, and and the next day when I looked at it, this is what I got. I thought it made for a nice abstract image, and I just took an image of it. So there are vast resources on the web. Photomacrography.net. So that's a gold mine for knowledge and information. So lot of knowledgeable folks. They're very active on the forum, and it's also a very supportive forum. So if you really want to learn something, you just ask somebody. They will help you out with things over there. So you also have Nikon and Evident Scientific Olympus. So they have their own websites where you can learn about microscopy. For example, microscopy use they have vast resources of explaining microscopy techniques and how do we go about it. So also I have a bunch of articles as well on my website of how to get started with this brand of photography. So as I keep learning things and figuring out new things, so I do make it a point to write about it. So primarily for my own documentation and for my own reference, but also perhaps it would help somebody who wants to start out doing something like this. There's also this Canadian naturephotographer.com, Dr. Robert. He has some really great articles of how to get started with, crystal photography and, polarized light photography. So any of these resources, they're just gold mine for information. So just look them up and you'll be able to get started. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about today. So I wanted to give you a brief overview of how to get started with equipment, and also wanted to show you various images that you can create using this kind of equipment. So these are my coordinates on the web. Instagram macro by Raghu, aragur@gmail.com is my email, and macrobaragu.com is my website. So if any of you want to get in touch with me, please feel free to get in touch with me through through any of these methods. Thank you. I will be happy
Yes,
to take any questions.
yes, Mr. Raghu, it was fantastic and wonderful insight for us to know this kind of photography. I am at a loss to say anything like I don't know what to say. But before going to the questions, I myself would like to ask you, how did you get hooked up to this kind of photography at the first point?
Well, I think I think it's all about inspiration, right? You always
Yeah.
look at somebody and then you want to try and see if you can try and see if you can achieve something half as good as what you've seen. Right? It started with that. And I think you just have to go and see nikonsmallworld.com and look at the kind of stuff people are imaging, kind of stuff people are creating. So I think that is what I remember seeing many years back, the Nikon Small World, and that's
Okay.
from where I took my inspiration
That
from.
triggered your passion for this kind of photography.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So there's always some inspiration, right, that you take. So it could be somebody, a photographer, but yeah, you start from there.
Okay. This was my
So
first. For me, at
yeah,
least, it was first time seeing such photographs. I have seen certain of your images otherwise, but
right.
getting knowledge about in-depth things like this, it was first time for me. And I think many of us who are here also would be seeing it for the first time. So
Okay, thank you.
we'll go into the questions. I'll just pick up the questions from the chat box. People have already listed some questions.
Okay.
I think the first question I see here is from Mr. Arun Madan. He's asking why infinite conjugate as rays parallel, whereas in finite one they are converging at eyepiece focal length.
So is the question about why you pick infinite over finite conjugate? Is that the question,
Yeah, I
or?
think he's saying why infinite is parallel and finite is converging at the
Uh,
focal length.
yeah. So that's
I
just
think
the term.
in this.
Yeah, yeah. That's just the term that microscope vendors have given. So infinite conjugate is basically indicative of this infinity space in between, where you have this parallel rays, right? So without the turbulence, if you just look at the infinite conjugate, you would just see a blurry image. There's nothing here. It's just parallel rays here. So you don't see any focused image at all here. So,
Okay.
but with a finite conjugate, if you just get a finite conjugate and you just look through it, you will be able to see an image.
Okay.
So finite just means that you have a fixed tube length that you have, but with the infinity, the rays can go all the way to infinity. But to refocus, you need a tube length in between.
Turbulence.
Yeah.
I think your question is answered, Mr. Arun. Next, we have a question from Mr. Raju AK. He's asking, please tell us about polarized light.
Yeah. So polarized light, basically what you do is, let me just show you. Yeah. Yeah. So polarized light. So this is the easiest way to do it if you have a microscope. So what you do is, the first thing is you have the lamp here. The lamp is actually throwing out the light. So on top of that, you add a polarizer. So the polarizer is, in this case, you can't see it here, but it's a circular device that you place on top of the light. So it just polarizes the light that is flowing out from that particular thing. And the second thing that you want to do is you want to add this second element here. So the second element, it's going to be added in a cross polarized fashion. So whatever polarized light is coming out here, you add it in the cross polarized fashion here. So whatever and the sample is placed in between here. So now what happens is the polarized light flows through this, and it encounters the second polarizer here. But there is some disturbance of the polarized light as it passes through the sample, and that disturbance is what you capture here. And the colors that come out from the polarizer are because of something known as retardation. So the retardation you can create your own. So if you have a microscope setup, it's very easy to do it. You can just add this polarizer retardation element here. You just push it in, and then you can move the knob around, and that would change the colors uh, that are introduced on this particular sample. So if you do not have a microscope setup, then the easiest way to do it would be to just get a polarizer sheet from Amazon. So I think it costs about thousand rupees, $1,000. So just cut two rectangles, and if you place the two polarizer sheets in a cross polarized fashion, and you look at light, it'll be completely cut off. But the moment you place a sample in between, you will see that you can see the sample, and it's stained optically now with the polarized light. So that is basically how we do polarized light photography. So if you're making your own homemade polarizer, you will also have to, and you want these colors to come out, then you create your own retardation elements. So retardation can be created using simple small plastic pieces, the CD covers and things like that. So they will bring out all these colors that you want on the sample.
He's further mentioning, is it microscope dependent?
No, it's not microscope dependent. Yeah, so this polarizer, whatever this equipment you see here, so this will fit only the Olympus. So if you have the Leica, you cannot attach this. So you need to get a polarizer, from Leica to do that. But if you do not have that, then you can try and create your own. You put a polarizer down, and you put a polarizer on top of this here, on top of the sample. Just place it on top of the sample, and then you should be able to do polarizer light microscopy with that.
Okay, Raju sir, anything more? If you want, you can type it out. I believe your question is answered. If not, I think you can connect with Mr. Raghuram. That would be the best option. So moving to the next question, Mr. Saurabh Bhattacharya is asking, can we mount a DSLR on any standard microscope, or do we need to request a specific configuration?
No, you can mount any SLR, any mirrorless camera. So here, for example, I had an old DAT that I attached here. So this is just for photography purposes, but you can just take this out and attach a D850, which is what I used to earlier to image various things. So you could attach anything. So this is a versatile setup. I mean, or if you have any 200 lens, right? So if you have a Nikon 200 you just attach a ring to that. So that becomes your microscopy rig. So you can attach any camera, any mirrorless camera. It'll work.
Okay. The next one.
So of course, this ring you can get it off for people who want. You can buy it off eBay, or you can or AliExpress used to ship earlier, but I think the shipments have stopped to India. So you'll have to figure out how to ship these rings to India. These particular rings.
Yes. Next question is from Sumantra Sarkar. He's asking, do you have any tips to get better at handheld focus tracking for macro photography?
Yeah, so handheld focus tracking. Hello?
Yeah, he's asking whether we can do handheld focus stacking for macro photography.
Yes, you can certainly do that. I mean, that's a brand of photography that many photographers, including myself, we practice quite a bit. So if you have the easiest way would be to get a camera that supports focus bracketing, focus stacking. The Olympus is an example that you can get, and that will help you take automated shots of whatever you're trying to shoot. But if you don't have that, you could do it with any other camera as well. So, but what you would have to do there is you will have to choose a sufficiently fast shutter speed, and the rule of thumb is to be faster than the twice the focal length of the lens. For example, if you're at 100 so you will be shooting at about 1/200 or around that. So, but modern cameras, they also have this IBIS, and they have all these stabilization techniques and all that. So you can probably shoot at about 1/160, which is still reasonably fast for handle shooting. And the next thing you want to do is you want to use lighting. So for lighting, you'll have to use a flash to compensate for the loss of light because you're using a fast shutter speed. So the way you would do it is you would make movements of the subject or the camera, very small movements, and you would look through the viewfinder to see where the focal plane is changing. and every time it changes, you take a shot. This is with a camera that does not support focus bracketing or focus stacking. But if you have a camera that supports focus bracketing, what you do is you just focus on the first point of the subject that you are that you want to shoot. Like for example, you take your first shot here and let the camera take the rest of the shots.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will take the rest of the shots. So, but if you don't have that, you will have to move the camera forwards by small amounts. And the only way you can do handle focus stacking is to use a fast shutter speed. Else you will have motion blur and things like that. And because you're using a fast shutter speed, you're going to be using a flash for compensating for light.
Okay. I think you got your answer, Mr. Sarkar. Raju AK has one last question. He says, do you sandwich your subjects?
I don't understand what is sandwich.
Yeah. Could you elaborate, Mr. Raju sir, on the question so that I can ask him? Next question is from between glass. He says between the glasses or it's direct to the lens, that is the microscopy object.
Yeah. So yeah.
It
So
means to
this.
ask whether the specimen will be kept in between two glasses under the microscopic lens. Am I right, Mr. Raju? Yeah, he's saying that. He means that.
Yeah, so what you do is you place the slide or you place the subject. You have one polarizer filament, the polarizer sheet below the slide, and another one on top of the slide. So the slide goes in between the polarizer sheets.
Oh, the specimen goes between the polarized sheets, not two
Yes.
pieces of glass. Like
Yes, it goes between the polarized sheets. But the polarized sheets itself are placed in a cross polarized fashion so that it cuts off light.
Okay. He's having a doubt whether will it not affect the clarity of the image finally what you are getting, because
not at all, sir. I mean, if you're using scientific equipment like this particular one, you're supposed to get your money's worth with the amount of money, right? Yeah, so you'll be able to get beautiful images with that, and also all of these have been shot using homemade polarizers, using some of these things, right? So these are all shot using homemade polarizers. So these I think these are as good as it can get, sir. I mean,
yes,
yeah.
we can see that. Yeah. Yes, he says thank you for the explanation. Now we have one question from Mr. Pranav Gopalan. He's asking, how do you light vibrant subjects like cuckoo wasp? He says he has problem where if he exposes for the body, the eyes become dark and loses details.
Yeah, so subjects with that kind of thing is always a challenge. So I do agree with that. So one way you can do is you can differentially expose, and then when you're combining everything in software, you could take sections of the lighting that you have exposed, right, differentially. So that's the only way. But if you take, I do use the HDR mode sometimes on the Olympus camera, so that offers a much better resolution for some of these problems that you mentioned. For example, the HDR mode, when you use on the Olympus camera, you will see that some of these blacks and things like that, where there's not enough light, you will see that it gets exposed better. So these are kind of the things that I use.
I think that's the end of it. No more questions. So everybody, people have enjoyed the today's show, getting insights into this kind of photography. Personally, myself also, I was amazed looking at the images what you have got using the technology. Lot of intricacies and technology involved in this. Not everybody can just start off. I think people will have to have real passion and dedication to get into this kind of photography. And anyone here, yeah, please.
I think you just start off small. I mean, work on top of this. So it's always work in progress, sir. I mean,
I know.
yeah.
I know. That's how the photography started with me also. How I started, and then I'm where am I today here.
Yes, yeah,
So
that's
thank
true.
you, Mr. Raghuram, for being here and giving us the wonderful presentation on behalf of YPS and the entire executive committee and all the members present here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're always welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So, friends, before signing off from today's program, just a final reminder once again. We have the members exhibition Frames 2025 coming up next month, August 23rd and 24th. The last date for submissions are extended up to 24th July. Please don't miss this opportunity. Submit your wonderful images and be part of the exhibition on occasion of World Photographic Day. Any problem in submitting the images, you are welcome to contact one of us in the executive committee or the YPS. We will help you to do that. Next, we also have the submissions of International Salon ending on 27th July. Please submit your images and let us have a wonderful salon at the end of it. So that's all from myself and YPS for today's evening. Thank you for being here and encouraging the artist, all of us. Thank you so much and good night.